Hey folks, Aaron here. Welcome back to the anime review. Today we're looking at the final last episodes of March Comes Like a Lion Season 2, episodes 21 and 22. Now, I will also say that most likely we're going to get a Season 3. I'm presuming that will happen. But, I'm not sure. It hasn't been confirmed yet. But I think it will be pretty soon. We'll probably hear something. Because I believe Season 1, when they mentioning that Season 2 was going to even happen, it only came, I think, a few months after. So I'm presuming that we should get something of an announcement sooner or later. But the last two episodes were really nice. I really kind of enjoyed them. It wasn't what I was really hoping for, per se, because I would have loved a little bit more substance of an ending, but at the same time, it felt like a new beginning, so that's kind of why I was like, I'm okay with this. And I think that many people who watch it will feel the same way. So episode 21, we'll talk about that first, and I'm only going to briefly talk about it because really not a lot happened. Even with episode 22, there's not a lot to really dive into, so you're not going to hear me review these things like in super depth. But the episode 21 really just kind of focused on seeing Hina have to endure some tough times. For the most part, she had, wanted to go to the school with Rei goes, and the thing was that kind of what hurt her a little bit was the realization that Takashi, who's the baseball player, wasn't going there. He was planning to go somewhere even further away. I don't think he was going to even go to Hina's new school, but more so he was going to go to a school nearby, and they would still be friends and be able to talk with one another. But lo and behold, he's leaving. He's going somewhere completely different. And as we know, she does like Takashi. Hina has feelings for him, but at the same time, I still think that she's kind of debating between our main character Rei and also Takashi. One's more closer to get to, and the other one is something still new with her. But she just really was hurt more by the fact that she feels like things are changing, and it's that she always has this thing where she loses people in her life, and we know this from her friend who had to leave, because of being bullied and all that. So it was definitely one of those things you felt pretty bad for her for the most part, but at the same time, hey, even though she was sick, even though she had all these odds against her, and she was so upset and depressed about that, she still passed. She was able to go to Rei's school, and that was really nice. And for the most part, seeing everyone react to just how she passed and how she was really happy about it, but even more so to see how people are reacting to Rei was kind of funny, because we got to see the aunt who was like, "Wait, you left a boy with a younger girl? How could you do that?" But it's like, "Oh, don't worry, it's just Rei, it's just a kid." The grandpa, and the what's it, Kari said that, and she's like, "Who is this child? The special child?" It's like, that was so funny. I love that sequence. But that was the brunt of the episode. Was really just kind of to enforce Hina's growth a little bit. Now, our second episode, which is the conclusion per se of the second season, follows Rei's story a little bit more in terms of a very interesting twist. We follow the mother from the adoptive family, so the more recent adoptive family, where I forget what that girl's name is. The one that's also a shogi player who was a shogi player who really kind of hates Rei, but at the same time relies on him. She's got like the orange hair. We go to her family, and we see a very interesting story be played out where it's all done in very quick cutscenes of sorts. It's not really done with actual animation. It's more so imagery. And it focuses on her talking about Rei and how he really kind of changed her whole life in many ways, and the family life that she had, where her daughter and son became something else because he joined. It was that this kid came in. He was so good at shogi, which they were all playing shogi themselves, but they weren't even close to being as good as him. And besides even that, he was a good boy. He did his chores. He took care of the family. He really cared about everyone in the family. And even when he left, as we know, he left on a quiet, just offbeat note where he was just gone one day. And it's interesting because the mother, I think, has some hatred for that, but at the same time, genuinely loves this kid because she understands that he was part of the family. And she understands why the husband had so kind of got used to this kid because, in many ways the husband was very similar to Rei when they were children, and I think he understood that, so that's why he took Rei in and was so focused on him more than even the other kids. And there's animosity between them, and I think I said that word correctly. I might have said that incorrectly. I'm sorry about that, but between these people, Rei was like a storm. He came in and changed this whole family dynamic. But the thing was that it wasn't his intention to do that. Here he was, a kid that was by himself, being adopted into a family that kind of hated him in many ways because, they hated who he was. The father, of course, loved him, and the mother, seemed to really care about the kid, but it wasn't the children that really cared for him, and it really hurt him, I think, as time went by, because he felt that he was being estranged of the family, which we've heard before in the first season also. It's kind of why Ray left the situation and went to live on his own. But, you know, it was very interesting to see that the mother and Ray had this, like, brief conversation, and it was only a few words here and there where Ray was talking about some things, but it was mainly, I think, to show that, you know, she doesn't hate the kid. She feels like he's still part of her family. And as we see at the very end of that, you know, she talks about how she had a dream about him, like acting like a child and acting so against certain things and being more like her actual son. But that was the whole point of that. That was the takeaway, that lo and behold, you know, he was still one of her children in many ways. And that was a really sweet episode. Bittersweet in many ways, but it was a sweet ending, I think, for that part. The later half, we see Takashi talking with everyone, and really more so just saying that he wants to follow his dreams of getting into, you know, baseball, and he's got to do whatever he has to do. So he followed his coach and went to the school that, you know, they went to. Hina herself gets a haircut, which is not the best haircut in the world, but I loved Ray's reaction to it, because Ray is like, yes, that's good. I like it. I really like it. And I'm like, okay, Ray, calm down a little bit there, buddy. You're a little too much liking the hairstyle. I mean, it was pretty nasty. I'm sorry. Some people might like that type of hairstyle. I just didn't think it looked good on her. It looked good near the end, where they showed her again from a different perspective. But when they first showed her, she legit looked like one of those dolls they showed, the Daruma dolls, and I was like, that's not good. That's terrible. But yeah, you know, you see them walking and you see them talking and going to school for the first time. And you would see, like, Akari talking about how, you know, certain things are happening, and more so you see, like, Momo. You see basically everyone just moving on. And that's why it's bittersweet almost in that sense, too, because you get this ending that doesn't feel like a season finale. It just feels like a story that's about to start up again soon. And that's why I think, you know, it's definitely going to not appeal to everyone, but at the same time, it could appeal to you, because there's going to be a season 3 most likely. We're going to have one after that. And that will be where I think more of the story comes out. But it's really cool just to see the kind of story that it keeps going from here. And I'm usually not happy with those type of endings, but in this case, I think it worked kind of well for March Comes Like a Lion. So let's talk about the whole season 2, by the way. So we had 22 episodes, which is a very strange number in my mind still. I think like 24 is usually what is a normal thing, but lo and behold, it was only 22. You know, we had that 3-week break, but this series has gone from nothing but amazing to every episode being amazing in some form. I don't think there was a single episode that, you know, did not examine something beautiful about this story, about these characters, about this world that we have. And it's such a simple slice of life story. And, you know, the shogi elements are very simple again. Like, it's very similar to season 1. But season 2, I think, goes above and beyond, because we get more introduction to these characters even than before. You know, we start seeing Ray come out as a character. He's broken out of his shell finally. The shell I talked about I talked extensively about in the season 1 reviews of every episode. But, you know, we see in season 2 of March Comes Like a Lion him actually forcing himself out, and, you know, finally embracing life around him, embracing the people that have come into his life, and, you know, taking them on as friends, and taking them on as people he knows are truly in love with him in terms of, you know, caring about him and want him to be safe and happy. And we also deal with a lot of situations that are very realistic, like bullying. We deal with, you know, Ray's obsession with trying to get better, but at the same time, you know, still kind of dealing with some of those little awkwardness here and there, that social issues he has with certain people, and trying to just understand himself. But, you know, he's really fought against the tides that have kind of pushed him against everyone else, and pushed him just away from life at times. And I think that we saw that even with Hina, and we saw that with Akari, and we saw that with the grandfather. We saw that with all these characters this season, where these characters feel real. They feel relatable. That you feel like these are people you can almost understand. You can say, hey, you know, I'm like this guy right here, or I'm like that girl. And that's so rare for any anime to do, to have so many characters that you can actually feel like you're one of these people. And that's why, you know, I will say right here and there, you know, besides the story being amazing, besides the animation being absolutely stunning, I mean, I'm not surprised by that, but it looked even better than season 1. The music was solid, both the openings and closings were great, and just overall, the enjoyment of the show, it was just flawless for me. I think it was significantly better in some ways than season 1. You know, if I had to rate it between an A through F, I'm going to give it an A+, hands down. I mean, It's a 10 out of 10 for me. I loved March Comes Alive season 2, and I think many of you guys and girls will love it too. You know, and I've already talked to several people that are really diehard fans of it, and you know, we have discussions about how, you know, certain things are here there. You know, I was really on the fence originally about Hina and Rei getting together because I felt like there was a big age gap between them, but realistically, you start seeing that it's not really that big of a gap. It's only a 4-year difference, and their relationship isn't really like that yet. It's more so just kind of getting into the beginning, the catalyst of their relationship going any further than that. I think it was fine. I started realizing that, you know, hey, I was a little bit kind of hasty with my decision on that, so I'm okay with it now. I'm rooting for them becoming a couple, to be honest with you. But what do you guys think about March Comes Alive season 2? Let me know what you thought about these episodes in the comments below. I will talk to you guys later. I hope you enjoyed this review, or dual review technically, because I had to review both episodes and the whole series. I will talk to you guys later. God bless you all. Until I pass across again in the next review, make sure to do all this stuff, like liking my videos, subscribing to the channel and all that stuff. Bye everyone. God bless you all.